Hello and welcome to the Best of BFM interviews with the filmmakers. My name is Jan and I am here with Tuula, the director of A Dance That Lasts. Hi.
Hello.
So Tuula, your documentary has two protagonists, Milvi and Emily. How did you meet them?
Well, originally we met them through our course mate Semyon. Semyon had known Emily from beforehand, and once in a conversation with Emily, she herself had proposed that if there ever was a project that it would fit to, then she would love to have a movie about her and her relationship with her grandma and the dance that unites them. So then Semyon proposed us the idea, we agreed right away, and then we went to meet Milvi and Emily in Milvi's apartment. And soon enough, the same day, we started recording some small elements and moments with this small camera, and everything felt very natural. And from there on, we had the pitch for the teachers, and there Emily and Milvi did all the job for us on screen, because people, I guess, resonated with them, and Milvi is a very funny character. So from there on, it was pretty easy and lovely.
Yeah, and I know that the film had a bit of a tumultuous pre-production period, and originally you weren't even supposed to direct it yourself. I think you were the producer, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
But why did you decide that this is a movie that needs to be made and you had to direct it?
Firstly, I think when you first see or meet Milvi, you'll just know right away that she's a different kind of lady, and her energy is just contagious. And I think it's incredibly inspiring, especially for her age. And then there was Emily with her kindness, and she had such care and respect towards and also patience for her grandma. She had always kept her in mind, and I think this was super beautiful. And as mentioned before, Milvi did have like a very busy schedule because she has those ping pong classes, she does dance classes, and anything that a normal grandmother maybe wouldn't do. So it was a more difficult part to find the matching dates, but eventually we managed.
Speaking of the film's visual side, I think the most memorable moments come from images that look as if they're from an old camera that we can also see on the poster, that looks really nice and feels very much like a memory. So how was the process in deciding that part of the film should be shot on that, and how did you approach that?
I think it was proposed by the director of photography, so Luda. And for me, I explained those shots with an older camera that this would make the feeling of like a memory book that is filmed now on this day and in a very short time of period, but it still feels very nostalgic. And as much as I know, then Luda found it in like a second-hand shop at some point. There was like an old camera that was sort of broken, the lens was broken, but it created this visual that is really nice and retro and vintage, which people in our school like. So, and she herself calls it old shitty camera, her old shitty camera. And we used that for half of the shots to make this older feeling, and we combine them to make like a dynamic that works.
And speaking of the shooting process itself, how much of the shooting was like pre-planned? How much did they just hang out with them and find moments like that? Because it feels like a lot of the film is just hanging out and being just in a room with them. So what was the shooting process like as a first question?
True. Key word I would say is shooting with them was pretty stress-free, because right from the beginning they accepted us and they welcomed us very warmly. So being around them was a pleasure. But then thinking about the frame and the plan, we did think it through pretty thoroughly as well. So the first time we sat down and we discussed all the routines that they have, the activities that they do together, and the sort of small traditions that they share. And from there on, we decided to have one activity per one day, nothing too much more, to make it complicated. And there we went on with this. And as I mentioned before, the only challenge was maybe finding the matching dates, because Milvi as a busy woman, and then there is Emily, who at the time was in the acting academy. So her, schedule is something beyond like normality. But we managed, and what else? I think the rest is like we were hanging out a lot, but we always had a plan of why we are hanging out there. And if I also remember correctly, then our project from our course did have the most shooting days. And even though Milvi at times started like as a joke whining that the star life is too tiring and I cannot take it anymore, I think she was actually just fine, and we did quite the right amount to really get closer to them.
Yeah, and you can really feel that, and I'm still interested in like how much of the story was pre-planned and how much of it was created in the editing room. And as you said, if you had a lot of shooting days, then was there a lot of footage that was left in the cutting board and editing room that never saw the light of the day?
There was a lot of material that didn't see the light, and there was a few shots that I so badly wanted to include there. So it was very tough to cut it down to those exact 10-11 minutes. And for example, with one of my favorite shots, there was a classic, a plane was riding over the shot, so it fucked up the sound, and we couldn't use it. But I think the story wasn't really made in it. Edit did like a big job to make it make sense or to have it flowy, but it doesn't really have like a structure. It's just like a flowy us following their routines. Maybe the dialogue part does sort of like tie it together, but I think we planned out as in a way that we just shoot the routines and we'll just somehow put them in the edit.
I think that's like the strength of the film, that it flows really nicely from one moment to the other. As you said, the film doesn't really have like a clear structure in your eyes, but what is the message that you want people to walk out of the theater from when they see your movie?
I think I would say the same simple words that Emily stated in the film, which was that to understand yourself, you first need to understand the people who lived before you, which is this pretty easy principle that to explore your own roots, to know where you're from, who and what those people are like, and to keep close to those who are still there. And also that the very ordinary small traditions that you have with your family or siblings are sort of the ones that are the most meaningful. Super cheesy, but very fucking true.
Very cute, very cute. And finally, do you still keep in touch with Milvi and Emily? And how is Milvi above all doing right now? Is she still going to her practices and dancing?
Oh yeah. Milvi is doing awesome. I keep in touch with both of them. I think even more with Milvi, and as I've heard, then Luda keeps more in touch with Emily. But with Milvi, we've met to catch up over tea at her place. Then we had the very amazing opportunity to go to Puff, so me and Luda and them went together, and then I invited Milvi as my +1 to the opening gala, which was very lovely. And then we've shared some small gifts, and also a few weeks ago there was she's still going to the dance classes weekly. So I invited my boyfriend to come with me to one of the dance classes. So we went there to dance with Milvi and her like elderly peers. And even though he didn't want to go at all at first, I think in the end he liked it really much. So I hope there is more to come.
Yeah. Okay, but thank you very much for this interview, and I hope I wish you all the best, and I really like the film, and it's very cute. And thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.